When I think of woven horizons, I really think about the idea of not only immersing ourselves in our landscapes around us, being able to use creativity and fiber arts as an outlet for any stress or kind of that relief of a connection that we're feeling, but overall it's that bigger focus of how can we preserve these landscapes for generations to come in an ethical and sustainable way. You know, the history of conservation in the United States is something that is rooted in preservation and is rooted in a lot of positive elements of wanting to protect landscape from natural extraction, but there is also a really big truth to that legacy about the ways it's taken away land from other peoples, especially First Nations. And I think that's really important to point out that not only can we love and appreciate these landscapes, but we can always ask for better. And we can always use smaller actions to really put ourselves out there and to understand that the education is ongoing, that these horizons are something that aren't separated from us, but that we're woven into them. I grew up going to the national parks with my family and friends and camping across the West and being able to really appreciate and take in the nature that was there. More than just physically being these beautiful preserved landscapes, national parks were an opportunity for me to be educated on the history and legacies of colonization, conservation, and continued environmental protection in the United States. You know, it would be lame for some of my friends who got to go to water parks over the summer, but my family and I would go to historic farms. And just those facilities and opportunities that so many park rangers and national parks provide to the American public, and not only the American public, anyone who comes and visits the United States can learn more about the ecological history of the land that we're on by visiting these parks. And I think that to me, especially with Woven Horizons, the more that we can focus on fully immersing ourselves and acknowledging that we don't know everything, the more that we can take action to educate ourselves, our peers, and ultimately help protect these landscapes for years and years to come.
So for my pieces for this collection, I used a mix of donated yarn from Vips, their collection, and then a lot of mine are made out of granny squares, and that's because when I was thrifting one day, I got this bag of like assorted granny squares, and I wanted to do smaller pieces, which is how we came to like 3 bags and 3 bag charms.
quietly standing up and taking some acknowledgement that we need to like fight for our parks, and we need to raise awareness around what's happening is like the first big step. Like really taking a moment to realize that these parks are important to you and important to the communities around us is a really important first factor. And then of course, like maybe researching more about local representatives and our government, but also our agencies and environmental like groups and scientific research communities. And of course, just going out to visit the parks too and showing that there's an appreciation and showing that there's like a community for those parks is always really, really important.